Welcome to The Explainer. You know that feeling when you look up your own house on a map? It's kind of weird, right? That super clear photo of your roof, your backyard, maybe even your car parked out front. It's just out there for the whole world to see. Well, today we're going to dig into how that picture even gets there in the first place, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it. So, let's kick things off by really looking at what your home's public profile is all about. Because, it's way more than just a pretty picture. It's a data point, and it tells a story about you that's way more detailed than you might think. So, is your backyard really private? I mean, you probably think of it as your own little sanctuary, right? But here's the thing. From a few thousand feet in the air, that privacy fence might as well not even be there. And this isn't just for looking at maps anymore. Oh no, we're talking about algorithms that can scan these images and spot things like a new pool you put in or even a trampoline. And that can affect everything from what you pay for insurance to what the county thinks your property is worth. And this really gets at the heart of it, the massive difference between what we think is happening and what's actually going on. We see a single static photo on a map app and think, oh, that's just for navigation. But the reality is completely different. It's not just one photo. Dozens of apps have it. It's updated all the time, and it's being used by insurance companies, real estate websites, and even your local government. It's a living piece of data. So, this all begs the question, where does the picture of your house actually come from? Who's taking these photos? Well, the answer is probably not who you think. It turns out there's this whole hidden market for this stuff, a whole industry that's all about capturing and selling these images. Right, and this is the key thing to understand. Your home's photo isn't actually taken by the map apps themselves. It's bought and sold on this hidden market. So big companies like Google or Apple, they're not the ones flying planes over your house. Nope, they're customers. They buy all this imagery from a few huge data suppliers whose entire business is just photographing the planet from the sky. Okay, so this chart kind of breaks down that whole supply chain for us. You've got the big players at the top, like Maxar Technologies. They're selling their satellite pictures to Google, Apple, and all the big map apps we use every day. Then you have other companies like Nearmap or Eagleview, who sell super high-res photos to insurance companies and local governments. And yeah, your local county assessor is in on this too, using the images for tax planning. It's this whole ecosystem, really. And getting to know a name like Maxar Technologies is super important here. Why? Because they're one of the biggest sources. If they have a picture of your house, that single image can get passed around to dozens of different apps. So going straight to the source, to a company like Maxar, is way more effective than trying to play whack-a-mole with every single map app out there. Okay, so we've got the lay of the land now. Let's get down to brass tacks. How do you actually get your house blurred? Believe it or not, the process is pretty much the same almost everywhere. It really just comes down to 3 basic steps. First, you gotta hunt for that report a problem or feedback link. It's usually buried at the bottom of the page. Second, you'll need to find the option for an imagery issue or privacy concern. And finally, you just submit your request, but make sure you give a clear reason, like a safety or privacy issue. Okay, but here's where we need to manage our expectations a little bit. I'm gonna read this quote directly from Google's policy. Requests are only rarely honored for overhead imagery. So yeah, that's a bit of a reality check, isn't it? They're happy to blur faces and license plates on Street View. That's pretty standard. But for the view from above, they rarely do it. You can and should still ask, but just know they don't have to say yes. All right, so let's wrap this all up into a real, concrete action plan for you. Think of this as your personal toolkit for reclaiming that digital property line. So here's your opt-out toolkit. For Google Maps, just use that report a problem link we talked about and be really specific about your privacy concerns. For Bing, you'll use their feedback form, but just a heads up, they might just send you to whoever they got the image from. Now, for the big suppliers like Maxar, try contacting their data rights page and maybe mention privacy laws like GDPR or CCPA. That can sometimes help. And for the others like Nearmap or Eagleview, you'll probably have to go straight to their privacy department and maybe even prove you live there. And don't forget your local sources. This is a big one people miss. It's not just about the big tech companies. Your city or county government publishes tons of this imagery themselves for things like tax assessment. So what do? Contact your local county assessor or their GIS department directly. Now, their policies are going to be all over the place, but some of them do allow you to request a reduction, especially if you have a specific safety reason. So when you boil it all down, the key takeaway is this. That picture of your house, it's not just a picture, it's a piece of data. And just like any of your other personal data, you absolutely have the right to manage it. Look, now that you know how to blur your house online, you've taken a really solid first step. But it makes you wonder, right? It leaves us with this bigger question. What else in our digital lives needs a little bit of blurring?